It was a bright Saturday morning in Springfield, Illinois, and I, Rachel Thompson, was trying to make the most of the weekend. My husband, Daniel, was out of town on a work trip, and I had decided to spend some quiet time at home. Little did I know, the day was about to take an unexpected turn that would make me rethink trust, family, and the value of honesty. My nephew, Alex Carter, had recently moved to Springfield from Chicago with his parents. He was 10 years old, full of energy, and an expert at causing chaos wherever he went. I loved him dearly, but sometimes his mischievous streak tested my patience. That morning, I was in the kitchen, preparing a breakfast casserole when I heard Alex's unmistakable laughter echoing through the hallway. "Rachel, Rachel," he shouted, his voice bouncing off the walls. I turned around, wiping my hands on a towel. "Yes, Alex, what is it?" I asked, expecting him to be excited about something simple, like a new game or a funny story. But instead of a normal answer, he sprinted toward me at full speed. I barely had time to react before I found myself dodging his playful tackles. He was laughing hysterically, his little legs moving faster than I imagined possible. "Catch me if you can," he shouted. I let out a surprised laugh and tried to grab him, but he was too quick. For a few minutes, it felt like we were in some prehistoric chase scene, me chasing him through the living room, around the couch, and down the hallway. My heart raced, not out of fear, but out of sheer amusement. I couldn't remember the last time I had laughed that hard. Eventually, I managed to corner him in the living room. "Okay, you win. Truce," I said, pretending to be defeated. Alex nodded, panting and grinning from ear to ear. "Uncle Daniel would be so mad if he saw this," I teased, ruffling his hair. "Don't worry, Aunt Rachel," Alex said, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "It's our secret." We spent the next hour drawing pictures and building towers with blocks. But just as I was beginning to relax, the doorbell rang. It was unexpected because I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened the door to see a woman I didn't recognize, standing there with a nervous smile. "Hi, I'm Megan," she said softly. "I was looking for Daniel Thompson. Is he home?" I frowned. "No, he's out of town. May I ask who you are and why you're looking for him?" Megan shifted uncomfortably. I think we need to talk. It's about a mistake, a misunderstanding, really. But it involves him, and I didn't know where else to go." My stomach sank. I had always trusted Daniel completely, but something in her tone made me tense. I invited her in, keeping Alex busy with his blocks in the next room. Megan explained that she had met Daniel at a work conference months ago, and while nothing improper had ever happened, there had been some miscommunication that had caused her to believe there was more going on. "I came here because I wanted to clarify everything," Megan said earnestly. "I realized it was my mistake, and I don't want to cause any problems for your family." As she spoke, I noticed Alex peeking from the doorway, curious about the conversation but sensing its seriousness. I reassured him with a gentle smile and focused on Megan. After an hour of discussion, everything became clear. There had never been anything inappropriate between her and Daniel. It was a simple misunderstanding blown out of proportion. Relief washed over me, and I could feel my trust in Daniel reinforced, stronger than before. Megan thanked me sincerely and left, and I took a deep breath, thinking about how easily doubts can creep in when communication is lacking. I sat down with Alex, who now looked slightly guilty for interrupting my piece. "You know, kiddo," I said, pulling him close, "sometimes things can look worse than they are. But honesty, patience, and talking through problems make everything better." Alex nodded solemnly, as much as a 10-year-old could, then jumped into my lap with a laugh. "Let's play some more," I chuckled, lifting him up, and realized that the morning's chaos had turned into a beautiful lesson about family, trust, and love. That day, chasing my nephew like it was prehistoric times reminded me that life is unpredictable, but with honesty and care, misunderstandings can always be resolved. By the time Daniel returned from his trip, I felt stronger, more connected to my family, and grateful for the little reminders that life often gives us in the most unexpected ways. And Alex, well, he had a new story to tell about the day he almost outran his aunt, proving that a little mischief can sometimes teach the biggest lessons.